Hey everyone, this is David Pike, the Motorcity Mechanic. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about Dodge Ram pickups. Mainly the years 2013 all the way up to 2017, and an issue that you might come across related to the rear tailgate. Now the issue is with the trucks that actually have tailgates that you can lock and unlock using the remote key fob. Now the scenario is this: the customer would go unlock the vehicle, they would get inside, start it, drive it. They'll drive X number of miles, maybe they make a right turn or left turn, and when they do, this is what happens. The tailgate just drops automatically. And when that happens, you can just imagine what it feels like inside the vehicle. As far as you know, you've either been rear-ended or you just hit something because you did not expect it to happen. Then you possibly look into the rear of the vehicle and you see that the tailgate's down. So that's the issue we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to show you what the most common cause is for that and what you need to do to fix it. Now the first thing we need to do is we've got to get access to the inside of this tailgate. Luckily there's an access panel right here. Now there are a total of 8 T27 bolts that we've got to take off along the perimeter and towards the center of this access panel. Once we get it off, we can actually see what's going on inside, and I can point out the most common failure point. Now one thing I highly recommend is a good quality set of Torx bits. One thing is you never can have enough. Most kits don't come with everything you need. Now this is a kit from OTC. This is their Master Torx kit, part number 5900, A as in Alpha. And when you open up, you can see that we've got everything from external Torx sockets, we've got your standard Torx bits, we've also got your Torx Plus style, and your tamper-proof or tamper-resistant Torx bits. Now like I mentioned before, we're going to be going with a T27. So we're going to be using this bit mainly just to get the access cover off on the back of the tailgate. So go ahead and take them off. Just lift it up, set it off to the side. Now one thing I do want to point out is the T27 bolts that we took off for that access panel. If you look, you'll see they got a bunch of nylon washers on there to stop them from actually damaging or scratching the paint, which would then cause rust. Try to keep up with these, but if for some reason you lose them, I probably wouldn't be too worried. I probably wouldn't run to the store or go to the Dodge dealership and order some. You'll probably get by with them fine with not using them, but nonetheless, if you can avoid from losing them, please do try to go back with them in the manner that they came off. Now with that metal access panel out of the way, right here in the center of the tailgate in this square cutout, we've got access to everything we're going to be working with. You can see this rod right here that goes from the assembly over to the left latch. We've got another rod that goes from here to the right latch. And right here is your power lock actuator. We've got one connector. And we've got 2 fasteners, 8mm, that sandwiches the latch assembly with the outside handle to the tailgate. That's the only 2 fasteners we have to deal with. But before we start taking things apart, I want you to see exactly what's going on and what's causing that concern. And here's a close-up view of that assembly. Now the name that it goes by is Tailgate Lock Actuator Control Unit or Module. Now why they call it a module I don't know, other than it being a complete assembly, because there is no computer, there is no brains. There's only 2 wires, and that goes to the actuator to cause it to lock and unlock. Now the area I want you to pay attention is right here. There's supposed to be a piece of metal with a 90-degree bend on it. That bend causes a stopper or ledge, and it prevents this black linkage right here that's attached to the actuator from over traveling. When it does over travel, you'll actually see that the linkage for the left actuator and the right actuator move. Being that they can move, they can actually pop the latches open on both sides, and that's why the tailgate will open by itself. Now remember, it only happens when the door locks are in the lock position. Now how does that happen? Well, number one, you could physically lock it with the button inside, or the rolling door locks will take effect around 15 miles per hour. So you can crank the vehicle, drive it 15 miles an hour, all the door locks inside and here will actually lock. And that's the locking that's causing the latch to pop. So pay attention in this area right here when we hit the lock button. You see that movement? It shouldn't move that far. But because it's moving that far, look at the linkages right here. They are moving as well. Now you would say that's probably not enough to cause a problem, but technically it is. It doesn't take much for these latches to release. So what are your options when you come across this issue? Well, one is you could actually take that assembly off and replace it as one piece, which is the recommended method. The second thing is you could actually disconnect the electrical portion on that actuator, and that way the tailgate will never lock going down the road, so that locking motion won't cause the latches to pop open. So that's one thing you can do. And the other thing is you can probably, if you're real handy with things, you could probably weld you on another piece of metal to make that 90-degree bend to cause that stopper to be there for the linkage. So you've got some options. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to be taking that assembly off, and we're going to be showing you on the bench what the issue is up close and show you what a good unit's supposed to look like. Now the first thing we need to do is actually take the linkage off the mechanism, both the left side and right side. And we're going to be doing it right here at these red pieces. So I went ahead and took the assembly off the vehicle so I could show you a close-up view of that red clip that you're going to be releasing to get the rod off. Now as you can see, the rod sits inside of it. So all you've got to do is actually apply a little bit of pressure. You can push on it or you can lift up on the upper portion slightly as you're doing both. It'll release it from the rod. You can then rotate it. Once you rotate it, you can pick up on the rod. And when you go to reinstall it, it's just opposite. Insert the rod into the hole, make sure it's fully seated, rotate the red piece around till it snaps into place. So now it keeps it in position. Now you got to do it for both sides. So now that I showed you how to take the rods off, let's go ahead and knock it out real quick. Got the left side off. Right side. As you can see, I can do it with just one hand. With that off, we've only got two more things to worry about. We've got two fasteners. They're 8mm, one here and here. And we've also got an electrical connector that's just up under this edge right here that we've got to squeeze in on to take it off. What I'll probably do is wait till last, that way I can reposition it and show you the connector. So for now, we're going to be dealing with those two 8mm nuts. So those two fasteners I just mentioned are right here and here. And those are 8mm nuts. You can clearly see the one on the left side. The one on the right side, we've got that black linkage. It's in the way, but that's not a problem. All we gotta do is move it up. And now we got access to both of these. Now when we take these two 8mm nuts off, the studs that they go on are part of the outside handle assembly that's on the back side of the tailgate. So when we take those off, the actual handle is gonna be loose. So just watch out, make sure it don't fall off. So let's go ahead and move on to taking these two nuts off. Now being that the nuts are down under a little bit, a pair of needle nose pliers or a pocket magnet will work great. We don't lose them. Now with that out of the way, I can actually lift up on the assembly and we can actually get to the wiring portion that we're going to be disconnecting. And now we've got access to the connector. Now on this connector, all you got to do is squeeze. Once you squeeze, you can pull and release it. And you go back, same scenario, insert it till you hear it click, give it a good tug, and then you know it's fully seated and you're good to go. Now I went ahead and took the entire assembly off, including the outer handle, mainly because I want to touch on a couple key points that I couldn't show you in the tailgate because we had a little bit of limited access to actually show you. Now as mentioned before, the studs are part of the outer handle assembly. The tailgate basically gets sandwiched between the two, between the actuator assembly and the handle. Now another key thing I need to point out when you're going back with it, and you might notice when you're taking it apart, is this triangle cutout right here. Now the important thing about that triangle shaped cutout is the pin that sits inside of it. If I take that lock actuator assembly off, you can see that pin is part of another piece of linkage going to a cylinder. And that is actually the key cylinder for the tailgate handle assembly. That's where you put your valet key in so you can actually manually lock and unlock the tailgate. So when you go back to line everything up, you've got your new assembly. Not only do you have to line the 2 holes up for the studs for the 8mm, but that triangle piece needs to go over that pin. All this can be done inside the little confinements of the tailgate. That's not a problem. But like I said, it was best to show you off the vehicle so you can see it. So that definitely needs to be there. And then all we got to do is put the 8mm nuts back on, attach the electrical connector, and engage the rods on the 2 red pieces. Now right here I've got both assemblies sitting on this teardown table. We've got both the good one and the bad one. I want to show you a side-by-side comparison of what you're going to be looking for. Now looking at the good assembly, you can see right here this metal finger that sticks up. When I move the linkage, you can see how it stops right there. It prevents the linkage from traveling further than it's supposed to. So that's what we're looking for. That metal finger needs to be there. If it's not, then you're replacing this entire assembly. So let me show you the old one. Now looking at the old assembly, you can clearly see that that metal piece is not there. The little finger that is there to prevent the excessive movement of the linkage has broke off. So it allows it to rotate more than it needs to. Now the installation of everything is just the opposite of removal. I basically went over all the steps that I thought you might have questions or concerns with. So if you follow everything in the video, you shouldn't have any problems. Main thing like any repair is you need to verify that you fixed everything once you get done. Make sure that the key cylinder is working properly on the outside. Make sure that the handle opens the tailgate. And make sure that the power locks work correctly using either the fob or the button on the dash. So the next time you're driving down the road and it feels like someone just rear-ended the back of your truck and you look back there and you don't see anybody and the tailgate's down, you'll already know the most likely cause and what you need to do to fix it. So if you liked the video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up on YouTube. Don't forget you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you got any comments or suggestions about anything you saw in today's video or anything Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram related, you can always email me at david@motorcitymechanic.com. If this is the first time you've seen one of my videos, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and also click on that little bell next to that as well. That way when any new videos get uploaded, you get notified instantly. And also, last but not least, if you'd like to shop on Amazon, please feel free to use the link that's in the description below this video. Any purchases that you make will help support this channel. Once again, everybody, thanks for watching all these videos.